I am not seeing anything. Let me just do that. No traffic coming around Marabal. Like everybody in the West take the day off. Holy cow. All right. All right. That's a traffic update. Hopefully helped you out in one way or the other. All right, gentlemen. Let's get into the results of our morning poll. Of course, you can join us now via our live stream on our YouTube channel. The link is there. Just look for my name and you'll see the link. And you can join us at a Zoom meeting. Of course, you have to disengage all audio devices so we won't get any feedback and so on. All right, so gentlemen.
Yeah, of course. Do you have any more votes, Steve?
Yeah, I'm just going to check that. I got Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Morning, no to the poll. All right, Ray. Thank you so much. Because the link is on. Just look for mine, our name, as well as the Power 102 FM. It'll come up in yellow, like it just did. And going to Ruben. We don't know where in the world Ruben is. He took the day off. That does not happen. So we don't know where he is. But let's get the results of our morning poll.
All right, well, we asked this morning, do you agree with the actions of the police officers in the viral video where they were seen kicking someone on the ground in his head? Mm-hmm. We had 17 people weighing on the poll. 16 of you said, no, you do not agree with the actions of the police. One person who voted under the name Joy said yes. A second person voted yes, but they sent it to my phone privately. I want to tell them so many things I want to tell them, but I'll wait till they come down by Rumbox. I'll talk to them down by Rumbox. I have to try to save people from themselves sometimes, because as I said, there is absolutely no action, nothing that those guys did. And I saw the video this morning of the guy provoked, and I actually know that senior officer who's in plain clothes there with the guy. I know him. He's come by Rumbox. But nevertheless, he's a cool guy. And so he was trying to de-escalate the situation. It's the guys in uniform who just rush in and, I don't know, it just all hell broke loose. But again, we would have been singing a different song this morning if somebody had not gotten up. Whether it's the policeman we ain't see it up to now, who get the jump kick. We ain't see that video yet, I'm surprised. Or the guy on the ground who got that kick in his head, because he was actually on the ground already when he got kicked in his head. So there was no reason to kick him. He done immobilized. You done fling him to the ground. What the kick about? Anyway, 16 people said they do not agree that should be the actions of the police officers. And that police officer, he might be young. I don't know how long he needs to. Paul your mic off.
I understand that he was resisting and being in some ways violent, so they would have had to take him to the ground by force. You understand? Mm-hmm. But he is on the ground. There's more than one officer attending to him, and you kick him?
Yeah.
Ready? Yeah. That's the training?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
If you go back and somebody referred to it, if they go back to the video with George Floyd, for all intents and purposes, was already subdued on the ground, And this police officer was kneeling on his head. And despite everybody telling him, ease off the man, come off the man's neck, he stayed there until that man died. It's like if people just get into this zone where no amount of reasoning, they can't listen to reason there.
I think we need to separate the George Floyd issue with this one.
No, I'm saying that in the context of sometimes, and I qualified it with my last statement, people get into a zone where they stop listening to reason. Where they stop thinking reasonably.
In the case of the George Floyd situation, there was a pervasive environment of police abuse against a particular ethnic group, black people. Mm-hmm. So it seems that situation is more disgusting because
people can say the same thing here,
no, they can't. It's two separate situations, and in the situation with George Floyd and that history of police in certain cities, dehumanizing black people is a completely different conversation.
Yeah,
it's not the same conversation at all. Because that situation was, you get a sense that the police thought that black humans were less than or subhuman and they could treat them anyhow. In this situation, it's bad policing. It's a completely different conversation. But all under the rubric of police abuses, yes.
yeah. Yeah, I want to agree with you, Paul, that this one is about bad policing because the police seemed, at least from the different videos that you saw, seemed to try to ignore him at a certain point.
Yeah.
And they were trying to,
they have a lot of patience.
Basically
you could see the little boy was drunk.
Yeah, basically go your way. Basically, I think that was the police kind of approach at one point. Go your way.
Yeah.
And he kept coming up in the face and he wanted to fight and he wanted to fight and he wanted to fight. And then, of course, it escalated to what we saw. But I was mentioning before we went to the poll that if you listen to some of the videos coming out of the incident, because there were multiple angles from various people, there was some where you heard people saying, he looked for that, it's good for him. He looked for that. Yeah, you actually heard the people in the background behind the cameras, because you're picking up the voices of people who were watching the incident, and they were basically agreeing with the police in a kind of way.
And while I understand people will become, what's the word, incensed because the boy was acting the proper fool with the man, because he ain't no boy, right? The police still have a responsibility to carry out their duties in a particular manner.
Absolutely, they do.
So, whether the boy was being completely there's a particular approach to carrying out your duty. Yeah. And that does not include kicking somebody when they're already on the ground and wherever you kick him.
And he got 2 kicks, eh?
Yeah.
Yep. And so,
according to Richard, you used the right word earlier on. It switched from policing to retaliation.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the right word you used earlier on.
Yeah.
Morning, Lincoln.
Alexa, volume 1.
Morning, Lincoln. How you doing?
Lincoln showing off of his technology there, you know.
Alexa.
He's showing off technology on YouTube there, you know. He leaning the door to tell Alexa to call it, to go down, hush them out.
It was the Alexa volume 0.
Gentlemen, I'm very disturbed about this. Oh my God.
Lincoln, we're hearing you, you know.
Yeah, go ahead, Lincoln.
I am very disturbed about this incident because it reminded me. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
All right. It reminded me so much of the school fights that is happening right now. You understand?
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
It's so different to any of the school fights that we are seeing on a daily basis.
But they're different though. They're different because like one of the parties is a law enforcement officer with significant powers. That's why it's different. It's not two equal entities.
I'm talking to. It seemed like a gang fight.
Oh yeah, I understand that perspective. Yeah. The law enforcement officer descended into a gang fight.
Gang fight, that is what it descended into.
Yeah.
Police firing kick at thing and thing in, and then but it seemed like a gang fight.
You know what would be interesting to find out, Lincoln?
We have a lot to be desired. There's a lot to be desired.
You know what would be interesting to find out, Lincoln, as you say that gang fight thing? Because we all know there's a underlying sort of tension between police and the army, right? For years, that has existed. It'll be interesting to find out if at the point in time, they knew he was a soldier.
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But
I think so, you know.
You think they knew?
You think what, they would have known?
I think so, because isn't there one of the videos where they reference that, somebody references it in the video?
But I'm talking about the
I'm
police
saying I don't
officer
care. I don't care if you're a
at the
soldier, you know, or something like that.
Oh,
Wasn't
I
that some of
didn't
the
hear that. I didn't
conversation I was
hear
trying to? You all try to listen to the conversations in the background. I'm always trying to listen to what are people saying. But I think I heard that. But anyway, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And to the people that voted yes,
Well, only one person voted yes, eh?
well, yeah, well, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people who will support the TPS to that extent that they would support that. And as somebody said on the station this morning, who are that fed up with crime that they support anything that the TPS does, no matter how outrageous, until it happens to their family or their friends or themselves. You understand?
What happened there? What is that? Oh, we are showing the video?
We have technology, you know.
I like that. So watch that. Watch that.
This video, I have no audio though.
Yeah.
I turn on the audio. I'm trying to avoid the obscene language if it has.
Oh, okay.
Right, so that's the video.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the, I'm not seeing, is that the one with the kick in the head?
Yeah. The 2 kicks. He got 2 kicks.
2 kicks, right?
2.
And I would shudder to hear with the police story if that person end up critical or worst case scenario.
In his head.
You know,
2
strange
kicks.
enough,
Yeah.
this video though is not of the other guy who was challenging the police officers in the orange pants.
Yes.
This is another guy, eh? So I didn't see any lead up to this guy, but we saw a lead up with the other guy who was struggling with the senior officer in plain clothes earlier on.
Funny thing that I noticed, the guy was engaged with the tall man, right? He was engaged with the tall man. He decided to hit the tall man, you know, the big man. But turn around and watch a man shorter than you and cuff him.
I saw that.
You know, I'm watching the advantage and the monkey, you know what treat a client, because if he had run into that tall man, he would have been pulverized. But they look to mobilize him smaller guy than you.
Yeah. But in the beginning of the video is the senior officer who wrestling with him, you know. The same tall man, you know. He is huge, you know. I've seen him, as I say, I know him. He is
from
big.
the video I'm seeing he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. The video that you all sent in the group this morning, which was a pretty close-up shot of the scenario. That'll be interesting to watch. I'm not so sure if it has obscene language, but you know.
The one that Paul sent this morning.
Yeah, that one had some degree of context, at least in some of the things that you were hearing, I think. I don't know if Paul could pull that up.
I'm working on it.
This group that you'll be talking about, right? Just for you all. That's not a
Yeah.
public group.
Lincoln, you don't want to come in that group. No, boy, that group is trouble. That group are real trouble in it. That group is trouble.
People cuss each other and all kind of thing in that group.
I don't have a problem with obscene language. I born and grow on that.
No, them fellas obscene different, you know, Lincoln.
Trust me, you can't get worse than what I've been
Richard,
exposed
Paul,
to.
and Steve have different, you know.
Lincoln, trust me. It's a different level of obscene.
All right.
Right, I don't know if this is streaming also, but this is the video of the other
This
guy.
is the senior officer wrestling the guy. That's the same start of the video.
Yeah,
that's one is the part of the same scene where the other guy before in the orange was resisting, and then they went to this guy.
But let me ask you something. When the guy turned around and hit the other man, was that a police officer he was engaged with before?
That's what the short guy. I don't know. It looked like one of his partners.
Because I'm saying, if that was a police officer, that would have been a dereliction of duty. You can't watch a man assault the next one, and you just leave the man.
Well, the investigation will involve all officers who were on duty at that time around there. You know?
Yeah.
So I guess we have to wait for the investigation to happen.
And they'll each have to submit a report.
Yeah.
But definitely that police officer that fired the kick to the man's head, he should be suspended or on desk duty pending an investigation, which he should lose his job immediately following.
Yeah.
I know. It's just disturbing that under these circumstances that you know you're going to a fete, you know people are going to be drunk, you're trained in a particular way, and that's the response. Come on.
Are they trained in a particular way, though?
Of course, they're trained to deal with people who resist arrest. Yes, they do. They are trained with people to. Come on, there's not now TT police service in existence.
I am seeing far too many incidences on video where 5 police are on the scene and one of them trying to fight up with somebody, and the other 5 standing around. As opposed to the NYPD or any international police service, anybody resistant, all of them get on the man, subdue them, get on the person, subdue them, put handcuff on them, and thing. In Trinidad and Tobago, I always seen one police try and subdue, he back off, and next police come in and try and subdue. And so I have to seriously question what training they really getting.
But again, whether the training is adequate, clearly, maybe not for some people.
Yeah.
Because if because you are challenged, you resort to retaliation as opposed to subduing arrest and detention,
Correct.
something wrong.
Correct.
And Lincoln is right, yeah? There were enough officers for them to gather and hold that person and tie strap them or handcuff them. There were enough officers to do that. As opposed to what you've seen in that video.
So that is why I question, what training are they getting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you could train some people forever and they'll still get on like fools on the job, you know.
Like a gang. We can say it like a gang.
You could say it.
You could, all right then.
You could say it. A gang is an illegal entity in Trinidad and Tobago. So
A cult.
Yeah, right.
You use the word
right,
cult.
a gang is an illegal entity in Trinidad and Tobago. So if I say they're a gang, it has implications to that.
I hear
Dr.
you.
Job's word, a cult.
You could say a mob, you know,
Like a mob, yes.
like
yes.
a mob. You could say
Politically
like
correct.
yeah.
Politically correct
If
terminology.
you say a gang, you're accusing them of illegal activity.
Mm.
And I don't know that is in the police service there's a indiscipline and then illegality. You know, so there's a breach of rules and regulations in discipline, and then it may or may not reach the level of illegality. But that what we see there, no, I don't know how anybody could say, but yeah, that's appropriate.
Yeah.
We are able to add more people to the feed and take calls at the same time to discuss this issue related to the video that I'm sure most of us have seen by now. And as we said earlier on also, if indeed one of the guys or the guys are members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, they have a particular disciplinary approach that is very swift. You could get court-martial and put in the brig for weeks.
Yep.
And here the adding further insult to the whole thing. Now, to carry that man to the hospital, he would have had to have been detained. The man is on the TTPS, let the man escape.
Who escaped?
Who escaped?
Yeah, there was that news too that Lincoln is talking about. I saw that too, but I don't know how true it is, Lincoln. But I saw that.
So
Yes.
they escaped from the hospital.
That's what they said. I saw that.
The soldier escaped from the hospital?
Yes, that's what I saw that report.
Came out on the news. He has
Define news and which news you're talking about?
No, it's not social media news. It was radio news. He has escaped from the hospital.
And that's why they define which news, because it's radio news don't mean is accurate news, you know. You have the presumption because it's radio news is accurate.
Until we get evidence.
Okay, all right. You have radio news and TV news and papers news and don't be news, you know. All right.
You're correct. You're absolutely correct about that. But what I heard is that he has escaped from the hospital.
But we hear another thing in Trinidad and Tobago.
Let's go down the conspiracy road, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I kick up a man in his head in full view of people, then when I put him in the jeep, hold on, when I put him in the jeep, he gets some more kick and cuff.
Yes.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, quite possibly, right? Because you're out of the public eye.
Or you're bad out there.
Yeah.
Very soft, very tenderize a little bit.
I take him under the guide. Maybe I reached the hospital. Maybe I didn't. but I say he escaped. Because I don't really want to go in the hospital. I don't really need a doctor to be checking me out to say this happened in my custody. You understand?
Yeah.
Because that further incriminates you, you know. Any injuries he has, he was recorded as at getting in a hospital at the point in time of police officers would further incriminate the police officer.
You're right.
So I telling me partner, I ain't going no further with this. I ain't going no further with this if you bust it. You go home and rest.
Which one looking worse though? You feel comfortable having me because a man like me, you know I'm going to be on the TTPS, or let a whole prisoner that's supposed to be under police custody escape.
All right. I have someone sent to me police use of force policy as of 2011.
2011.
Yeah, I got that. That's some Jaron.
Yeah. Non-deadly force, all force applied by an officer that is not intended to cause nor create a substantial risk of causing death or grievous bodily harm to a person. I think a kick in the head fall into that category.
Definitely.
A kick in the head might cause grievous bodily injury, right?
And death.
But it was a kick. If you watch back the video, it was a kick to the midriff first, you know. To the
A kick in your rib and puncture your heart, eh?
Yeah, that's what the
And
first kick was, you know. The first kick was whilst he was standing, he got kind of jump kick, like, you know, from the police.
Non-deadly force, all force applied by an officer that is not intended to cause nor create a substantial risk of causing death or grievous bodily harm to a person. I don't like kicking somebody in the chest and their head falls into this category or this understanding. I am sorry.
Yeah. All right.
And gentlemen, I want to plead with the authorities because police ain't supposed to be fighting with nobody. Why wasn't the police at that event equipped with tasers, which have a more effective subduing what you were looking for?
It's stopping you one time.
One time.
Don't look for no posh thing.
As opposed to the pepper spray, which temporarily blinds people, they might still be able to retain, but a taser, it's putting it down almost immediately.
We have tasers authorized for use here, right?
Yes, I have seen.
There's a tendency sometimes to resist the use of tasers, and I know it's happening in other jurisdictions, because depending on your physical health condition, a taser can stop your heart and kill you.
That has always been the case in the first world country with 300 million people and they're using tasers every day. So.
Right, that don't mean that it's appropriate.
Well, it's certainly more appropriate than a kick in your head.
Correct.
Well, yes, I agree with that.
Correct.
And a bullet to your head too, because thank God no guns were drawn in that incident. Eh?
Well, and that's one good thing we have to say about the TTPS. We're not really.
Well, drawing a gun and firing when a crowd are wrong is also a breach of. Yeah.
But that has happened before.
Yeah, but a gun drawn when a gun is not a gun drawn when there's no clear vision of a gun drawn by the person receiving your attention is also a breach of I think. Because nobody in draw no gun, so and drawing a gun means you could fire and you could miss and hit somebody in the crowd around. So you had to be also aware of that.
I don't know. My mind working overtime with this, especially if that group of young men were identified as soldiers at the point in time. Because they were clearly inebriated. They were clearly provoking a situation. So my mind working overtime as to how police officers would react to a bunch of drunk youths cussing me up, insulting me, and you know they are army officers.
Let's say good morning going now to Riri out in West Palm Beach, Florida, Guy Small, Oneid, Timothy, Carol, Guevara, and Mo Gaines, who are all viewing us on our YouTube. We are streaming right now on YouTube. You can also join our conversation. You'll see our link. You'll see Power 102 FM, and you'll see our link, and you can join the conversation.
And you can call too.
Devices. And you can call. We have some.
Is the link under the YouTube video to join?
Yeah, it's right there. You'll see Power 102 FM.
Okay.
Just click on the link. All right.
That's to be clear for people who wish to join.
Yeah, we have some calls too. Let's take a call. Good morning.
Good morning. morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Pina.
Wendell, you hit the nail on the head, eh? Well, no pun intended. When you spoke about escalation and getting into the zone, we have seen this over and over, especially if you watch American situations where police beat up people and whatnot. And then you have people coming on both sides of the fence. And we're going to have that here too. I draw the line at kicking the guy on his head when he was on the ground. I only saw one video in the news. I suppose later on others will pop up on my phone. So I did not like that here. And I don't know if anybody got drop kicked or slapped or whatever, spat upon, but something escalated the situation to what we saw there.
Yeah.
Because if they had tried to pass off something that was not a ticket, and there was no reason to arrest them. If you scan your ticket and it isn't a ticket, well, you walk away, or you protest, or whatever. But something escalated that to where the police and these guys were basically fighting.
Yeah.
Now, in a fight, you get into the zone. I was saying that about a home invasion. I'm not a violent person. I'm not trained to fight in any way. I don't have any experience. You know, last time I fought, I was a little boy, and my mother cried and said, you know, you're throwing away what I'm trying to make for you even before I make it. You know, so I've never fought since then. I'm not a violent person. But if it escalates, it breaks down. Our normal human judgment breaks down in an escalation. If you drop kick me, or you try to, and you spit on me, and I get the upper hand on you, it has never happened, but I may very well take advantage of the situation and do something that looks really bad in a video and would be bad. So I'm not saying that the police should get that as an excuse, but we've seen it so many times. You know, we've seen that breakdown so many times that I was saying earlier in another place that, listen, don't fight with the police. Don't shoot at the police, because at some point they are going to overpower you, and that's going to be bad for you. You've just been shooting at me. You've just assisted or succeeded in kicking me, and now I have the upper hand on you.
Let me add something to this also. When
Thank
anyone,
you,
thank you, Mr. Pina, anyone who has organized an event or thrown a party or been involved in that at that scale, know that when you go for the license, for the party license, the dancehall license, and the bar licenses, you are required to tell the magistrate how many people you're expecting. Right? So they know they're expecting 5,000 to 7,000 people, right? Wendell, you know the amount of police you have to take for that.
Yeah, plenty.
And the type of police, because there are different categories of police.
Yes.
Not so?
Yes.
Because at that size of crowd, a riot could break out. So police and riot prevention mechanisms and police at a particular scale will be present, because you have to take them. You have to hire them. You have to pay for them. Not so?
Yes.
And they are there, not like ordinary police just who happen to be passing around, to maintain law and order in that event. Because you know, with 5,000 to 7,000 people drinking since 5 o'clock in the morning, you are going to have drunk, disorderly people who are not complying with your lawful instructions. Not so?
Yes.
So you're irritated knowing that.
All right.
How is usually going to kicks?
Which is why, guys, as I said, my mind has worked overtime in this situation, in that I suspect this thing reached the stage of police versus army.
All right. We have some calls online.
That stage.
All right. We have some calls. Good morning to Troy M. Good morning to Anthony Tinto and Mogains. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, you guys are hearing me, right?
Yes, we are.
I am so happy to get you all. Since you've gone digital, this is the 4th time I'm getting you, and I think I'm getting you for good now. So let me start here. To all the people who support the police, if a police get attacked, he's supposed to defend himself. Now, policemen supposed to learn certain techniques that they could restrain without brutalizing. People must remember something. When you had all them civil rights march in America in the 50s, the police get accustomed to beating black people. So when America take over that war from Vietnam, and they were getting the soldiers killed, and young white boys had to leave school to go and fight war and die, they started protesting against it. Police got so accustomed to beating black people that they were beating white boys the same way they were beating black people. And there was some college where 4 people get shot. We have to do something differently. One of the things we have, you need police like what you were talking about, right? Police. You need well-trained police. I think the problem how it is escalating now is escalating because of this man that I had liked a lot until he used that word, cockroach. You see, because he started to talk about certain type of training. You ever notice something? If you send soldiers in the bush to get bandits that have guns, the soldiers could bring them back alive. If you send police that's supposed to apprehend them, soldiers trying to kill, the police could kill them. We have to do things differently. Look, recently they show you a guy running. His back to the police, a shot fired. He fall down on the ground. The gun fall out of his hand, and then you hear, boom! No, there should be some investigation, and we cannot allow this to continue happening. I watched on the 12th of January, I stood up on Charlotte Street watching a Duke Street, and I saw a mugging taking place, not realizing it was a mugging. Only when the girl ran with the box and get into the car, and the 2 guys walk up the road, I went to the car, knock on her glass, she wind down. I said, was that an attempt mugging? I saw, she said yes. I took out my phone. Well, I did the American thing. I rang 911, and then I realized it was the wrong number, so I rang 999. I told them I just saw a mugging taking place here. The girl get in the car on Duke Street at the corner of Duke and Charlotte. That car, I think, maybe Maraval is going. Anyway, so I'm walking behind these 2 guys. When I get the policewoman and said, listen, I just witnessed a mugging. The 2 guys are walking up the road. I am walking behind them. I said, do you have a vehicle somewhere around that you could, I say, I would be around, I would identify the guys. And the guys were walking. I want to believe the calm with which they were walking, I want to believe they were discussing John 3:16 in the Bible because they were very calm. Now, people saw them, but nobody looking at them, nobody have that to study. It's not their business. So while I am talking to her, I say, I know reach the corner of George Street. I continue talking. She's asking me questions. I say, I know reach the corner on Nelson Street. Meanwhile, I told them how one was dressed in a short white pants and a black jersey. I tried to describe his height, his body weight, around his age. I tried to describe the other one. I say, I know reach Nelson Street. So I reached Nelson Street corner. I say, I know reach Piccadilly Street corner. I said, lady, she said, no, I had to get all the information. Then I said, hold a second. I said, ma'am, what is the name of where those guys walking up there? She said, Calvary Hill. I said, no, walking up Calvary Hill. Anyway, I realized she's playing the fool. Maybe she was making a pass at me. She knows I'm a broken old man. So I walk back to Duke Street. When I reach back at the corner of Duke Street, right where the mugging take place, there's a police jeep, 2 policemen sitting in it. One the driver, one the other one, waiting on traffic. I got a chance in a very calm way to explain to them what happened. I thought the one with the gun would say, would have been kind of enthusiastic. I would have gone with him. You understand? Because I'm masked up, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt I had. I'm looking like a youth man. But I am a senior citizen. I'm one of the most, well, look, I'm a fit old man. I like to tell people my age because I enjoy them. What? You so old? I enjoy that. I was prepared to go with the policeman. He have the gun. Anyway, here what happened. You know what the police tell me? He said, maybe we will see them. No, remember, they are going from east to west. They cannot go up Charlotte Street. They have to go up Henry Street, which is going up north. Then they'll have to turn back to Park Street, which is going back east. So by the time they go, them fellas, and then to get down Piccadilly Street, to go up Calvary Hill, these fellas dispose of wherever you don't know, and that is how calm they were. You see? And as I'm here, would you allow me to tell, please?
Yeah, quickly.
Okay, the superintendent, beyond the tape, what's his name again?
Alexander.
Mr. Alexander, I want you to know, on the 3rd week in October last year, you made a statement, and I cannot get on your radio station to tell you. No part of the world policing is an honorable job. You have honorable policemen, but policing could never be an honorable job. No way. Because every time there's a situation like in Sri Lanka or any country and everybody against it, the police still have to come out, tell people you can't go further than here. gas them, beat them, and shoot them. Gentlemen, have a beautiful day. You can start hearing from me more.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. I just wanted to say a happy birthday to one of our loyal listeners, Deborah Graves. She is 60 today. Deborah, given your age,
Deborah birthdays today?
you tell me your age, so I'm broadcasting it. She is 60 years old today. So a big happy birthday and a big kiss to you, Deborah. Mwah.
Happy birthday, Deborah. You don't look a day older than 59. But happy birthday.
Oh boy. I tell you.
I hope Deborah looks as good as now retired Joanne Archie. Right?
Yeah, I see Joanne Archie calling it quits, boy.
Yeah, I didn't know 60 does look so good.
Yeah, boy.
All right, we have a call. Good morning.
Margaret Sampson Brown.
Morning, everybody. Wendell.
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
Everybody, morning. I have been around police operation, linemen and things in places. It's all police and police. You understand? Look, the incident where Andre Barrett and them, the two fellas fall off the chair and get all them licks. Right? You see that? Kick the police, kick the man in the head. What about if that police has run and steal the boots by? What about if that steal the boots?
He could have one a ball, it don't matter.
No, on the other hand, you kick a man in the head on the ground and you subdue the man and the man drunk. So, why is he went on there? They may let talk police. They may talk. They may do no policing. The man drunk already, the man giving all the fight. 5 or look at take long the man, already have kick long the man. So, you understand? But there are some police operating Trinidad and Tobago. Not all, some police. Around Sapata, man, tell me what is that roadblock. And the police ask the man ass, and pull the man by the ass, and cuff the man. You understand? Then you get a police, we have it Trinidad and Tobago. Some of them so and some not so. I got with that.
Sad but true.
All right, thank you, Mr. Patrick, for your contribution this morning.
All right, we have 5.5 minutes again. If you want to join our conversation or link on our YouTube channel.
I don't know if part of the problem is the training. Well, obviously training comes into it. And because, we have a short time in terms of how long we train police officers, as does the United States, which seems to have this problem at times. And in comparison to European countries, who generally have a 2 to 3 year training period for police officers. I think for example, in Norway, I think it's a degree. And it's a bachelor's degree that you do. And two of those years you're spent studying. 1 year, I think you're on the ground training as a police officer. So they take much longer, generally in European countries, to train police officers, spanning 2 to 3 years. Whereas in Trinidad and Tobago, it's a few months. I don't know if that is part of the problem.
Well, in some cases, you're trying to reorient someone's mindset after 18, 20, 21 years of a particular type of socialization. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
And then you would imagine that even after you come out, after the 6 months, you have continuous training at some level to deal with specific situations like that, because you're not going into a party situation like that with 5,000 plus people knowing some people coming out drunk, because that's what you're there for. You're there for the people who not behaving. You're not there for the people who behaving,
Yeah,
you're there for the people who misbehaving. So that is what you have to expect. So I don't understand to say, well, you lost your head. Really?
And when you go to London, at the closing hour of every single pub, there's a police car parked up outside, And you're right, it's for the people who misbehave,
But let's see, let's look at it from the police's perspective or through the police lens now. How difficult is it to police Trinidad and Tobago?
A police officer told me once, and I agree with her. She said, Trinidadians understand 2 languages: brute force and obscene language.
They,
And
they,
definitely
they need to go to the US or the UK or some other jurisdictions and see the type of protests and the type of situations that police have to deal with on a much larger scale.
Go UK. UK is probably
And
the better place.
in some cases, race tensions added to that. Okay? To defeat Trinidad is just a Roman stupidity in many cases.
Yeah.
And according to Gary Griffith, they call police stupidity.
Well,
757, sorry.
Yeah. Good morning to Karen Bernard. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for looking at us on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe and hit the notification bell so when we come on, you'll know. Usually on every weekday morning at 7 a.m. That's 7:15 actually. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. What is interesting is I think John Oliver did an interesting program on police violence and in the U.S. And I don't know if it could apply to here, but it's about the psychology and most of the officers that they found, especially that officer in the George Floyd, he had prior violent convictions, and what they have happened in the U.S. is that they move them around and they continue the violence. And what they have found is that police, they come with their into the force with violent natures and conditions about people and how they think. So this idea of, I think, culture, what you mentioned, Richard, Senator, is the culture of violence in Trinidad, and then the culture of violence in the service that it perpetuates, and that kind of psychology of violence too, when you antagonize and you flare up, and then you flare up, and as you said, Wendell, you lose control. And in Trinidad, the guy just said, in Trinidad, you only have two things that people will understand, and people have that as a part of their psyche. There'll be two things they could understand. If I talk to you and talk listening to me, licks for you, and that's part of our cultural understanding of disciplining people. And how do we train, as you're saying, Richard, about the training? But I think that John Oliver program was interested in all the majority of the officers who have those violence against black people and even, let's say, to a lesser extent, white people. They all had past histories of violence towards them. I mean, extreme violence. And in the States, you could move from one state to the next state and join up the force and go. And so you just do what they found that they hop around. And I think even in your interview, Gary talked about that. They just move them from one station to the next station to the next station when they have disciplinary situations.
Because the
All
idea,
right. Thank you, caller.
Yeah, Dean.
Yeah.
Before you go, happy birthday, happy 81st birthday. Did he leave already?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
So there's that
Lincoln
caller,
Foxtrot, thank you so much for
yeah.
joining us on our YouTube channel. Of course, we'll do this again come Tuesday. Not Tuesday, next Friday. What am I saying? Next Friday. Only on Fridays we invite you to join our YouTube channel. All right. So thank you, Lincoln, and all our callers that called in. We'll continue to take your calls. Of course, I have to go into my news brief, all powered by Champlain Auto Services.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Given the spiraling crime situation in the country, taxi drivers should be given priority in applying for firearm users licenses and pepper spray. The recommendations come from Adrian Acosta, president of the Trinidad and Tobago Taxi Drivers Association. This comes on the heels of Monday's hijacking and abduction of a PH driver by a gunman posing as a passenger, which led to a police chase and ended in the suspect's death at Rice Road, Port of Spain. Candidate for the post of party organizer in the upcoming United National Congress elections, Dr. Glenn Ragoobarsingh